Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome back to the stream. It is I, DigiDriver, welcoming you to your Sunday, December 18th, 2022. Maybe it's Monday in your corner of the world, in which case, good morning or good afternoon. I hope that you are very well and taken care of. It is a little bit nuts to believe that we are literally one weekend away from arriving at Christmas and essentially about two more weekends away from saying goodbye to 2022 and starting the next year. It's like I said, it's been going by pretty quick, and I am continuing my work in Plymouth today, so hopefully I'll be able to get some more progress in. Welcome, everybody. We are back in Microsoft Flight Simulator, and we are working on Plymouth Municipal Airport. This is Kilo Papa Yankee Mike. This is a general aviation airport just outside the town of Plymouth in Massachusetts, which is probably about a 25 to 30-minute flight from downtown Boston. I don't even know if regional carriers service this airport. I would imagine no. I don't remember seeing any kind of major terminals in the design, and I'm pretty sure this is just for general aviation traffic. Actually, thinking about it now, if any regional carriers were to service this airport at all, it wouldn't take 25 minutes to get here, probably just take 15. So I think this is exclusively for GA, probably will stay that way for a while. Although, correct me if I'm wrong, chat, it's entirely possible some regional operations could have taken place here in the past, and this area is a big area. With that said, let's take a look at the scope of work that's been going on. You're looking at MSFS right now, and you're looking at my KPYM scenery, or at least the scenery in its rawest form. We have done things like adding taxi lines to this area, which I do not believe had any, or if it did, there weren't as many as there should be. We've added a whole bunch of start positions, and I believe I also worked on them to make sure GA traffic spawns in if you like seeing park traffic and you manipulate that in the settings of MSFS. We also move the beacon so it's not by the taxi point to the east-west runway. And we have added these interesting, what I call storage units, which are basically like this IRL, but they look different when you just load into the default airport in the sim. They look like one big building, which wasn't the case. So I'm working on touching up the hangars that are here, and to do that, I started working on this section right here. 3 or 4 hangars that should be similar in approach or execution, not similar in how the system renders them, how Microsoft renders them by default. And I have created a very basic hangar prototype, which at some point soon I hope to basically texture and add a few more features in so that using these static aircraft as examples, we can see what the hangars are going to look like. In between each section, I think each hangar is going to have some kind of a storage area. This is loosely based on real life, since I don't know what these things look like specifically or officially. But there, I think 3, maybe 4 hangars that are together, and that's just my best guess. Again, I don't live in the greater area, so I don't know exactly whether or not 3 or 4 spots are available. But based on the size of a Cessna 172, I would imagine these hangars are not going to be that big. Or if they're even bigger than they are, then 1 or 2 aircraft will fit in that spot, and we'll only have 2 hangars here instead of 3. I'm going to stick with 3 for now until otherwise indicated. So, there you have it. This is something I posted about last week while I was working on creating this prototype, and we're going to do some more work in Blender today as we figure out what it's going to look like, how it's going to behave. those kinds of things. So let's keep at it. Here is my Blender window, and more of the same, but now you get a better idea of what I was doing, or excuse me, what these hangar doors actually do. Unless I miss my guess, they scroll up vertically, and I haven't animated them yet. I might. The dark stripes that you see on each one of these hanger placements are going to be eventually textured doorways or very simple doorways with, what am I trying to say? Very simple doorways with a door, a knob to be able to open and close a door, or some kind of semi-futuristic thing. Again, I'm taking some artistic license to be able to create this, and I don't want to spend too much time iterating through until I get more information about how it actually looks IRL, and then maybe we can incorporate some more of those features into the design. So, I'm probably going to randomly have certain hangar doors opened and closed. And for my 1.0 release, it's most likely not going to do animated hangar door opening and closing. Although I might actually animate one of these doors in one of the hangar buildings just to get an idea of how involved the process will be, and whether or not it's something I want to incorporate into the airport as a whole. I did that for my payware scenery on Sim Market. It's W94, which is Camp Peary Landing Strip, which is just outside of, I think I said Williamsburg, Virginia. That's available for like €6 on Sim Market in case you wanted to check it out. But let's see. Do I want my first hangar to have all of its sliding doors open? I can't see why not. So I'm going to probably take slight deviations from these numbers to show, hey, this is real life. Not all of them open automatically all the way. Or maybe they do, but they're not open all the way because, if somebody has to push a button to open the door, maybe they didn't hold it down as long as the other guy did. So let me make sure I know how to position these, because I believe with both of these, there's the bank as well as the vertical placement. So there will be some human factor here. Let's do 80 degrees. And like I said before, they're going to have to be positioned into place manually. So we will take these, slide this out, and more or less, I might actually leave the exact position the way it is. I'm going to try to remember what the Y value or the Z value is. So let me do this. Let me undo the work. It looks like, yeah, 4.8285. That's actually a pretty good approximation, but I think I'm going to bring it up a little bit higher because I see more more section than what I had here. Actually, did I? I think these two are the exact same Y value. Oh, excuse me, we're not looking at Y, we're looking at Z. They're pretty close. 4.86 versus 4.82. So we'll keep that there, actually. Oh, of course, I forgot. Hello, Roberto. Buonasera, signore. I am doing okay at the moment. I am. Thank you for asking. I hope that you and Lilo and the Fly Lilo team are wonderful. My friend, feel free to post a link to your Twitch channel in chat. Folks, if you have not had the privilege of spending time with Lilo and Roberto as Fly Lilo flies, Fly Lilo is a wonderful and very capable virtual pilot. They're doing loads of work to represent the disabled gaming community, and it would be a well recommended piece of advice from me. Go check them out. They put great streams together. Oh, thank you, sir. We are trying to create a fairly detailed hangar. I don't want to put too much detail into it, but there's a lot of work required to make it look the way you want it to. So I am lifting the hangar doors so that they look realistic. And if you want to see what the hangar looks like right now, it's not textured, but this is what it looks like in the simulator. So in the sim, you have the bones or the structure for the hangar so far. You can see it fits a small plane, and there'll be space on top for storage. And this is the building. So we are replacing the default buildings with a custom building, which I will also spend time texturing because it looks better when it's textured. Maybe I will animate one of these doors so that when you're taxiing down the taxiway, one of them will open for you. I still haven't decided on exactly when I'm going to do that, but that might still be a feature. Sometimes I feel like I make it look like there's a lot of work to create a hangar building. It might not be that much work, but if you're going to create a custom scenery, then you're going to need to spend time building the 3D model in Blender. And then eventually, when we get to that point, we'll have to pick PBR textures to use for it. And you'll need to understand how to apply them, how to account for different materials like metal, and whether or not your surfaces will be very reflective or they won't be reflective at all. There are some things that I could probably go over at some point, but it's not that difficult. It's sometimes tedious, and you need to understand when to apply certain things to your projects. Hey, Air Amarak, hello. Hello, welcome. Welcome to the stream. I hope that you are doing very well. Folks, if you haven't already done so, feel free to give my stream friend Air Amarak a follow. Beginning a foray into flight sim streaming, I saw once or twice this week as well. So glad to have you aboard. We are going to be doing some details on this building today. To create this hangar, you probably need, if you're going to do it all in one sitting and you know what you want to get out of the hangar, condensed, I might say 4, 5 hours. If you're creating this from scratch for the first time, and if you're streaming doing it, it can take you longer, but that's okay. Oh, Roberto got an ad. I wish that there was a way for me to disable ads on my channel. period. Unfortunately, I don't think there's a way for anybody to do that. You can have planned ad breaks, like where you see an ad every 30 or 40 minutes or something like that. But unfortunately, the display of ads can't be avoided. It sucks. Roberto, welcome back. I was just saying, if you're gonna spend time doing this, building a hangar, it's probably gonna take you maybe as little as 4 or 5 hours if you know everything you need, and it might take you twice that if you don't know what you're doing, but you have a general idea of what you want to accomplish. I'm still learning how to use Blender, so it is going to take me some time. So let's go ahead and try to remember some of these values. We're going to apply to this door so it hooks right back up to this. You'll see what I mean right now. We change the rotation of this object and we apply the same Z value to bring it high. And then we apply the same, I believe, Y value. Let's see what that does. Yeah, there we go. Man, that sucks. I'm very sorry to hear that you have a cold that's really keeping you, well, I'm not going to say grounded, but I'm saying I'm kind of borrowing from aviation terms. Sometimes colds affect us more than we think they do. So I hope you feel a lot better soon. Yes, Roberto, I am working on uh, building a library of more and more objects like this building, which I'm going to be able to reference when I create projects in the future. So not only will I have a custom library, but if I have a hangar that I just need to repurpose or recreate or change slightly for a different scenery, like maybe an Italian or a Bermudan airport, then I can spend time, I can come into Blender, I can make my changes without having to create something from scratch. So we just lifted this hangar door, and I'm going to show you the process that I've been using to be able to create changes to my projects. Let's see. So we're going to go ahead and select everything, save our changes. Actually, before I do anything, let me do this. I am going to save everything the way it is, and then I'm going to create a new revision of this. One of the things that I do when I'm building objects in Blender now, I save different versions of the objects as I go. I think I have like 6 different or 7 different or 8 different files, and they represent the object at different stages of development. That way, if something goes absolutely terribly wrong, I can back up a little bit and lose some progress, but not lose the entire project. An Italian grappa. That sounds like something that will help you get over a strong cold. So I might have to look that up after the stream. I don't have a cold myself. Lord willing, I won't get one, but that might change. But thank you, Roberto. I am trying to create things which will really be nice for the community. So you notice in Blender, I just finished selecting everything. That's because we're going to export it to MSFS, and the export procedure requires me to do certain things. So I'm going to save the file, and that only takes a few moments because I'm running MSFS. I'll be able to simply copy the file over to where I am, but I need to do it a certain way. I'm going to find the hangar, and I'm going to copy the bin, GLTF, and XML files over. In theory, I should probably only need to change the GLTF file, but I copy those 3 over because those are the physical representation of that hangar building in my scenery. I'm going to go to Plymouth Municipal Airport. I'm going to go to my package sources folder, scenery, my model library. the folder with the files, and then I'm going to paste the files. Now, I'm going to show you what happens in the sim. So, you see how there's only one door open right now? Once I replace those files, ta-da! Now we have another hangar door open. Roberto has news. Roberto, please tell me. Very interested to see. Actually, while I'm waiting for you to tell me, let me do you the favor. There we go. So, for everyone that is not following Fililo, you can go ahead and follow them right there. 2023, you want to do an event with me? Oh, Roberto, I am honored. Thank you. Thank you. I would be very happy to catch up with you at some point this week to discuss the details. I would be glad to work with you all towards some kind of an event or some kind of a thing that we can work on together. Now, I did want to let folks know, and I spent time talking about this last night and last week. Mrs. Digi and I had someone that we cared about very much pass away last week. I will be spending time with the family this week with regards to funeral services and the like. So there is a very good chance that I might be taking a break, even from Twitch, temporarily to be able to help with necessary things or to spend time with family members and to celebrate the life of this individual whom we cared about very much. I'm not going to lie, it's definitely very strange and sad in the sense that when someone you care about passes away, you have to spend the rest of your life understanding that you can't just pick up a phone and give them a call anymore. So it means you need to take care of the people around you, and I have been reminded about that today. So I want to take a moment to say thank you to everyone that's watching today, to everyone that is watching and lurking, or that will view this program on an on-demand basis after the fact. Your support is appreciated. If you say hello, I'm grateful for that. I'm trying to finish Plymouth Municipal Airport sometime in the new year. I was trying to finish it by Christmas, but I ran out of time. Oh, no, no, no. I'm sorry. The stream isn't finishing. I'm not wrapping up. And I'm not going to stop streaming, period. I'm just saying, over the course of the next several days, I may be off of Twitch. Like, in a sense that, for example, let's just say I was on a boat in the Mediterranean and I didn't have internet access. Well, that would mean that I would not be on Twitch or chatting with people or saying things like that. Today I'm streaming and chatting with you, wonderful folks. But what I'm saying is I may not be, I will certainly be away from the keyboard for streaming, and I might be away from Twitch as a whole. However, I will say this first and foremost. I appreciate having been able to talk to folks like you here and across different chat rooms to be able to sound out my emotions and my feelings about the past few days. Being able to say hello to people and talk is very important. If anybody else is in my shoes right now, I can tell you having a good support system is very important. As a Christian, I believe in a personal relationship with God through Jesus Christ. Not everyone believes the same way that I do. I want to give people the ability to decide about life on their own. I personally believe everyone should be a Christian and follow Jesus Christ. But again, I welcome you here no matter where you are, no matter what you believe, as long as, of course, everybody's amicable and we have fun and we chat and we enjoy each other's company. So, again, folks, welcome aboard. Oh, sure. Please put the link for the fundraising stream for Fly Lilo. I appreciate that. I might have to take a look at that myself. It's great to see that your channel, the channel is growing and getting more and more brand ambassadors. That's very nice. So, if you don't mind, I think I'm going to jump back into doing some more hangar development and I can share with you the steps that I'm taking to turn this into something nice to look at and functional. Giveaways tomorrow are crazy. Oh, the last minutes of the giveaway will be crazy. Okay. Okay. Thank you for that link. I'm going to click on it and I have the page open. I'll probably take a look at that a little bit later. But thanks. There we go. Okay. Great. I hope you need a new GPU. Well, I have a 3060 Ti, so I'm actually fairly okay, but somebody else might need a new GPU more than I do. However, if I were to win a GPU, then I would be able to upgrade. Hawker 125, hello friend, welcome aboard, glad to have you. We are doing scenery development in Microsoft Flight Simulator, and we have been chatting with our good friend Roberto from the Fly Lilo channel. Folks, if you're not following Hawker 125, now's your chance. Go follow Hawker 125 on Twitch. Hawker, I'm doing okay. I am not, 1000% phenomenal. Recent events have brought some sadness to my life, but I have this wonderful chat and a great support system. I am dealing with life as the Lord allows me to, and I am glad to be streaming for you, wonderful folks, today. Now, let me add some more features to this. The last change that we did allowed me to open the door here. As you can see, we lifted the door up, we saved the change, we immediately copied it into the sim, and now you can see inside the hangar where my other stock aircraft is parked. I might leave this one closed, it will be textured of course, and simply have some stuff inside, or I might only open it up a little bit so that I can add some variety. Or I might leave all three of these open and then we'll see how this row looks. Amen, Hawker. Amen. The Lord is good. So, this is about as big as the other generic hangar buildings. I'll need to build a slightly elongated version for the fourth building here. I'm not sure what the difference is. I don't know if they just cram another bay into here, so there's like 3 or 4 hangar bays. But I'll probably just extend a hangar bay instead of trying to create a fourth hangar. Okay, I think I'm going to open the third hangar bay on the first one, and then we'll decide how we want the other ones to look. So, we'll do the same thing we did before. And this will probably make it easier for me to do details inside this hangar bay anyway, so that's fine. Again, we take this at an 80-degree angle, we lift it, and I'm going to use the coordinates from the other door to make this easier on me. That's how high that door will be. Oh, I clicked it before. There we go. So we lift the door. We take the Y component and we push it out. There's the door. And we're going to do the same thing that we did for this door, for the bottom half, and the actual door section to this. Essentially, this is what has to be done in order to get these hangar doors in place. It's not what you would probably call, you know, high tech, and you're like, oh, I have to do this every single time. Sometimes you do, but as we continue to build content and as my library starts to grow, the hope is that I don't have to spend as much time designing these things because I'll have some of the work already done. Okay, so we'll take this and we will apply it to this door. Oh, some of you might be wondering what this gelatinous green is here. This is something called an exclusion, like a MSFS. I forget what it's called actually. Hold on. Let me click on it. I call it a weather exclusion polygon, but the material is actually an MSFS environment occluder. The green rectangle or the green polygon inside this hangar is the reason why when you go inside the hangar building in the rain or snow, you will not get precipitation inside the hangar. You need this green here because if you don't have it, what's going to happen is whenever it rains or whenever it snows, you'll see snowfall or raindrops going inside the building. Now, if it's an abandoned building or if it's a structure which is open to the elements, that's okay. But since this is a hangar with a roof on top, which is presumably in good working order, we want to occlude the environment so that it does not bleed in to the building. And there we go. We've got 3 open bays. We can save our changes, which we'll do right now. And we're going to export the files again. And if you take a look at the building below, and we'll go down for a closer look, we have 2 bays open. And when I copy those files over again, we will have 3. So we copy them, and blammo, we now have 3 open hangar bays. I just kind of dropped the airplanes into place so they're not perfect, and I kind of like that. Now, this is where it gets a bit more technical and a lot more interesting. There's a lot of space in this hangar, and I kind of don't like that. I need there to be a lot more clutter. So here's what we're going to do. First thing I'm going to do is actually hide the editing or unnecessary lines so you just see the building. We're going to go back into Blender and we're going to add some shelves just so you can actually put some airplane parts on them. I'm not sure if I'm going to render airplane parts or not, but follow along with me and you'll see what I mean. We will start with the first hangar bay, which I believe was closest to the camera at the time. So, What I can probably do is take the floor and just move it up, but I think I'm actually going to create a new polygon because I'm going to create something which I might be able to replicate as a shelf, and we'll play it loosey-goosey here and we'll see what happens. I am in the object mode. I'm going to add a new cube, and it shows up where the cursor is in Blender right here. So we have a cube that we can mess around with, and I'm going to put it inside one of the hangar bays, the first hangar bay, and this is what we're going to do. We're going to squish it and stretch it and put it up against the wall. Whether or not I'm going to apply a see-through texture to it or not, or make it semi-transparent, I'm probably not going to make it a wire mesh and render every single individual metal wire required to make it a shelf like that. I'm probably going to put a texture on it so that it looks like it's see-through, or it's just going to be a metal plate. So we're going to reduce the size of it probably to something like 0.2, so it's decent enough to hold really heavy things. And then we're going to put this up against the wall. So watch. I might move it even closer. In fact, I will. I need to see where I'm going with this. This might be easier since I'm not working with textures just now. And see how it gets dark right around here? That's my indication that I'm going through the wall at this point. I try to put the polygons inside of each other a little bit so that I don't have issues with what I call, or what some people call, Z-fighting. And if I did it the right way, it shouldn't bleed over too much into the next room. There's just a little bit of coverage there. And in between the walls is where it winds up. If you're in this room, you won't see it. So that's good. But this kind of looks cryptic. It's like, hey, Digi, what are you doing? This just looks weird. So we're going to stretch it to go the length of the hangar wall. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to avoid putting it past this metal support here. It needs to basically be at a place where there's no risk that the hangar doors will get caught on that. So we will move it more towards the back, or we'll just have the shelf be in the meatiest portion of the hangar bay itself. Okay, 12.3 meters for the Y, and it's okay there, but it still goes a bit beyond here. So let's go ahead and stretch it back to maybe 12.1. And that might actually work. It goes to just past the halfway point for this metal support here. And if I can just make it go a little bit further, that might be even better. And then it still goes beyond a bit here. So let's make it 12 meters long, or maybe even a little shorter.
Final approach checklist complete.
Ho ho ho! Dr. 737 coming through with a sub. 22 months and never gonna end. My friend, thank you so much. Folks, one of the dear friends of the channel, Dr. 737, who is an avid 737 and occasional Airbus enthusiast. If you are not following this wonderful individual, please do yourselves a favor and go follow them right now. Like right now. And Honker, sometimes it does take a good chunk out of you in terms of getting the individual details down, but believe me, the outcome is so often worth the trouble. So I'm trying to make this so it's just nestled in the pylon supports, but it's just a little too big. So we'll do 11.75, and that should settle the issue. Actually, no, you know what? That's not enough. Let's do 11.9. All right. So 11.9 should probably be enough. It's inside here. Is it touching? It might be. No, there's just a little bit of room left for it. Folks, I'm persnickety about this. Like, some people will be like, oh no, that's good. Like, for me, it's like, no, no, I want this better. Okay, a little bit cryptic and just a teensy bit weird. But if you can see, this is the portion in between this metal plate. So it's in here. Let's go to the other side. And this isn't in yet. So let's make it 11.95. Man, Digi's particular. Yes, I am. Okay. If I'm careful, this should probably be all the work I need to do to get this set properly. I think so. I think so. The clear part here says it's inside this metal piece. If we move in slowly, we can see for ourselves. It's literally inside of it. And if we take a look at this other pylon, what I'm calling a pylon probably isn't, but I'm just using that name. It's just inside of it. Again, I want to avoid having flashy textures, so that's why I'm doing that. And now that we have that set, we have a shelf that we can use to store goods and parts and things like that. But I might stretch this out a little further because I want to be able to put a good chunk of stuff here and set room for people to put stuff underneath it. So we're going to stretch the X factor a bit. Let's make it 2.5 for now and see if that's too much. It is bleeding over into the next room, I'm sure. So this has got to go. All right, now it's a considerable distance from the end of the wall, and we might just be able to put some stuff there. So this is what we do. For the moment, I'm not going to care about environment occlusion. I know that we've disabled it, so if it rains, it rains. But I just want to see how it looks in the sim. So we select everything, we save everything, we export, and like we've done before, we are going to hide this so you guys can see. Whoa, 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 wait. You're showing off new work tonight? Wow. I might not be able to stick around for the whole show, but I'm gonna have to see that airport. So thanks for letting me know. Okay, let me save, let me export again, and then we can copy those files and you'll see the difference. And there we go. Here's that shelf that I created. Now, does it need to be as high as it is right now? I don't know. I don't know. And I don't know if I want to create any more supports underneath it. So there's a kind of like, you know, physical poles kind of separating the floor from that area so that you know you're not gonna put an airplane there. But this isn't bad actually. And to be honest, I might keep it that way, but I might lower the height a touch because it's in no danger of getting even close to the tail section of this aircraft. And these hangars are probably not going to have very large aircraft in them at all. At best, you might put a CJ4 in here, but you're certainly not going to put a longitude in a hangar this small. So, actually, That begs the question, will a CJ4 fit in here? Let me get rid of this. I'm going to delete this airplane and we're going to put another airplane in because I'm curious. Takes a little while to load these, unfortunately, so I'm sorry about that. Let's find CJ4 and which livery do I want? Let's take a Global Freightways livery, drop it in, and bring the airplane into the hangar. There we go. Wow, this is going to be a tight fit. Okay, clearly, this is a bigger aircraft than the hangar that I designed, but I'm not worried about scale or size. Like I said, these hangars are probably not going to be meant for very large aircraft at all, and the wingspan on this bird is probably way bigger than this hangar is. Or if you were an absolute knife edge pro, you might be able to get in here, but you're not going to get past this. So clearly, not the kind of hangar that you park this kind of an aircraft in. You might park in front of it, but you're not going in. Do I have any other biz jets that I can use, though? Let me see. A CJ4, I think, is the smallest biz jet that I know of in the sim so far. Oh, no, wait. The Citation Mustang is, but I don't have that as payware. I don't. So, a TBM? Yeah, you know what? Let's take a Kenmore livery TBM. Drop it in, and we'll see what it looks like. Oh, excuse me. Let's bring it in. There we are. Actually, this looks really cool. Now we really have an idea of what this hangar is built for. So, yeah. Hey, Camp Route. Been a while, my friend. Glad to have you back. We are doing scenery dev in Microsoft Flight Simulator, having fun at Plymouth Municipal Airport, and seeing what kinds of aircraft fit in the custom hangar that I've developed. So, let's pretend someone actually had services push their aircraft back into the hangar. So essentially, this is the size and scale of our hangar bay. So this is a TBM, and there's another Skylane here, and we have a shelf up top. I don't think that aircraft are going to park that close to the shelf, so I'm going to do two things. We're going to lower the height of that shelf, and we're going to stretch it out, maybe just a little bit more. And then I should have the size shelves that I need for the hangars. So this is going to work for this particular type of hangar. And again, I don't have any feet on the ground experience with actually being at Plymouth, so this is just the best guess from me for size. So here we go. Let's fix that. And let's lower the height. Let's lower the height. What's the... We were around 4 before. Okay. So if I lower it to like 3.8, or 3.81 in this case, it'll go down. That's interesting. I'm getting a whole bunch of errors right now in my airport, but it's probably just because of either the static aircraft I'm loading or something to do with live traffic. So I might turn that off actually, but I'm not worried about it right now. I save as I go. If I lower this another 0.2, it'll be lower. And it should still be higher than a person's reach. So you'd need like a front loader to access the stuff that's on the top shelf. I think 3.81 should be fine. Oh, yes. Thank you. Changing the pivot from world to local for easier movement. Was that inside of Blender or inside the sim? I forget. I think you were talking. Oh no, wait. I think you were talking about an MSFS because there's a world and a local pivot. Yes, yes, in MSFS. You're right. Camp Route. Thank you for asking, my friend. Um, haven't had the best week to be honest with you, but the Lord is good, and I'm glad to be able to chat with you, wonderful folks, as we create airport scenery today. I am building a hangar prototype, one of four for this airport. So I'm going to, I think, stretch the X probably to 2.7. No, that's too small. Let's go to 3. Yeah, yeah. Let's go to 3 and then let's move this from inside the wall out. And that should allow us to see what's going to look like. We've basically created a storage shelf within with a significantly protruding edge. This might be a little too far actually. What happens if we do the 2.8? If we go to 2.8, we should probably still be fine. Let's move it inside the wall. And then take a look at the other side. All right, we're going to save that change and I'm going to take a look at it in the sim. And if that works, then I'll basically move it over to the left side of the hangar, and then we'll call that set. So grab everything, export, and then we will test it in the sim. I'll just render it really quickly and we will see whether or not that works. I'm hopeful it should. Okay, here's what it looks like in the sim. I do look forward to Christmas, to time with family. It's gonna be a little different for sure. Actually, it's gonna be very different, but Lord willing, it'll still be good. Snare 17, my good friend, thank you so much for stopping in today. Thank you. I'm sorry I didn't say hi to you sooner. Let me let me let me at the very least give you a shout out. I know that you do the majority of your thing on YouTube. However, let me at least give folks a landing pad by which to go and check you out online. So, here you go. Snare 17 was actually working on Greensboro, an airport in North Carolina, and I think that project is still in progress, and I look forward to seeing any updates you have for it. So, we just made an update, and honestly, I think I like the way this looks. I might be tempted to put some support poles here, but honestly, if I keep the thickness of the shelf like I have it, I'm going to go ahead and justify the placement and say this is basically a part of the hangar structure. You'll be able to put very heavy things on top and on the bottom, and that's fine. And since you're not going to put an aircraft here that fills up the almost entire space, that should be okay. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. We can probably make it all the way to the back, but I'm just going to go ahead and keep it the way it is. Okay, okay. On hiatus. That's fine. That's fine. Glad to have you here. Feel free to, grab some coffee or tea or hot water and chill. I am here for about the next hour to hour and 15 minutes, and then I'm going to duck out probably before 4:30 this afternoon to have some friends over. So, I need to move that shelf over to the other side of the hangar bay, and that's what we'll do right now. Fortunately, that should be a fairly easy process. And we're going to go ahead and grab the cube, rename it, and then copy it. So, hanger upper shelf space 1. It's a misnomer, it's just there. I could just easily make this 11. I'm just giving it a name, and we're going to move this over to the left. So, move it over, and we're going to take a look at the side of the building. Having a shelf protruding from the side of the hangar is not a good thing. And I'm going to look at the walls here, move it into place. That's pretty much all I need. And then blammo, we now have 2 shelves. So we'll call this one shelf space 1 and the other one shelf space 2. And I'm not going to waste time. I'm going to go ahead and copy both of these and plant them in the other bays as well. And then essentially we'll have shelf space in each one of those hangars and make it look good. Thank you. Thank you for the vote of confidence, my friend. I am enjoying working with Blender more, but at the same time, occasionally it's just as frustrating because it's like, how do I just want this to work. But at the same time, it's been an experience. And like somebody told me today, I shouldn't be focused on trying to make this look absolutely perfect the first time. It's never going to happen that way. I'm always going to be goofing up or doing something wrong. So the process of getting better involves a lot of just not doing well at the outset. You know, somebody said something. They said the progress in you improving at something is like 70% meh or like really crummy work, and then you have something like what is it? Um, um, 20%, 20% getting better, and then that last 10% is when you produce work that's really, really, really nice. Yeah, yeah, and I think I've experienced that at least in passing Aramurk. As I begin to get more comfortable using it, certain commands, like I don't even have to wonder. It's like, oh, what is it to do a loop cut anymore? Like my fingers automatically understand. Okay, loop cut, Control R, bam. But I imagine it's like speaking a language or riding a bike. You get rusty after you don't do it for a while, but I think given muscle memory, it's probably going to be very easy to pick back up again. So now we have 2 hangars with storage bays. Let's make it 1 more, and we'll name these as well. If I don't run into issues with creating the other objects and I go a little bit quiet at the beginning of January and focus on this and double down, maybe I can try to put something out in the beginning to the middle of January of next year. But I don't know for a fact right now because I don't know what schedule's going to look like. And as much as I want to say it'll be done, I would rather know that it's done than overpromise and underdeliver. But I'm here building scenery with you folks, so we know I'm doing something today. Okay, it needs to go in a little bit further. Just a touch. There we go. So this should be all I need, I think. It's in the wall. Maybe if I shove it over from this side. Okay, that might be all I need. Yes, I'm a stickler for detail. Yes, I am. Okay, it's just like it's just far enough in the wall so that if I take a look at it from this side, it's not actually sticking out. Yep, that's good. So now we have those shelves in place, and like I said before, they don't go into the area where the doors open and close, so we shouldn't have issues. We will save this and export it. The view should look just fine, and then that should do it. So grab that and blammo, copy it into place, and we should see the finished product in MSFS in a few seconds. Lord willing, blam. Let's take a look at our finished product. Oh, thank you so much. I forgot, Air Emmerich. You're right. If I'm going to render this object and make it available for scenery, I think I need to go into Blender and make sure backface culling is enabled. Now, the only exceptions to the rule that I've noticed is when I start adding and removing faces. I don't know if Blender is not intelligent enough to understand what a backface is when I remove faces and add them back in. But for general things like those shelves, I'm going to enable backface culling so that those shelves don't have to actually, be rendered on the inside because we're not going to see the inside. Hawker 125, thank you so much, my friend. Appreciate you stopping by, and I hope that you have a great rest of your afternoon and a great beginning to your week. God bless you. So, in MSFS, we now have 3 bays with storage shelves on them. And they should be spacious enough to store some parts, or whatever you want to call it, but they're also not so tall that you, as an individual, if you're not careful, will hit them with a part of your airplane. I mean, this plane might if you're pushing in the wrong way, but I think that's understated enough to work. Okay, so that's good. Let's put the roof and environment occlusion back on this, and now we can start messing around with some of the other individual features for it, like maybe fixing the doors themselves. And I'm not going to spend too much time deconstructing how I rotated the hangar doors. I'm just going to go ahead and grab the door piece and build the extra pieces onto it. So we'll go back into Blender right now. Okay, now let me take a few moments to go over this. I am probably going to see if I can start creating some material groups for future materials. So we're going to go ahead and select the doors for one. And we will create a hangar door group, or hangar fascia? Hangar fascia. Well, okay, we'll keep the names even simpler. Very noticeable metal part. But here we go. So here's what we'll do. We created something called folding hangar door test. So we'll make this folding hangar door. And we're going to test whether or not we create any artifacts by enabling backface culling. So far, so good. I don't see anything weird about these hangar doors. And we've just cut down on the number of pieces that have to get rendered because you're not going to be going inside these doors to take a look at them. So I think we're okay. I'll probably do the same thing with the entryways. And that should be fun. Now, whether or not that actually doesn't render inside of Blender, I don't know. It looks like that's what happened with this piece, but for some reason these doors still render the inside the browser, inside the Blender window. Roberto, thank you so much. I appreciate that. You know, maybe I have a voice for radio, but I don't feel like doing radio. Although, let me run this idea past you folks. Would you ever listen to a scenery development podcast? I dabbled with the idea of creating some kind of podcast content a couple of times, but I put it back down because I wasn't really sure whether or not I wanted to spend time doing that. Maybe, because there are a bunch of people that are doing scenery development for Microsoft Flight Simulator and maybe X-Plane as well, and sharing knowledge and moving the hobby and moving the business forward might be a very good idea. So let me think about that some more. In the meantime, we're going to grab these and we're going to make a material for the walls. So probably something like not folding hanger, but hanger walls. And even if we don't do that much, we are going to basically create the associations required so that we understand the way our materials behave. At least that's how I see it. So I can also turn some other things on, select the roof, and we'll need a different material for the roof, of course. And what do we call the other materials? Hanger walls, folding hanger door, hanger roof, hanger roof. Pretty good point. Pretty good point. Thank you. In the last few sceneries that I've done, including Whiskey Niner 4, I had maybe 5 or 6 different textures that I used. Maybe 7 or 8 because I had some objects that were animated. But that's a good point. I also tried to keep my texture sizes very low, no more than 1K or 2K for size, because I didn't want to use 8K texture sheets or 8K textures for my program and then bog people's frame rate because of it. Roberto, if the Lord allows, I do intend on creating more sceneries in 2023. I do intend on releasing this airport in January, hopefully no later than February of the year to come. And we'll see where we are after that. So, yeah, if I could make my sceneries get more and more efficient, I will restrict myself from getting a whole bunch of materials. So let's see. What is this? Okay, that's the side of the hanger wall. And I'm going to assign this hanger walls as well. This is all one piece, so good. Okay, good. good. And we have it. We have all the things. I can probably save this as is and export it to the sim, and then we'll have it. It won't do anything to make it look different visually, but I'm just updating my stuff as I go. Okay, and in the sim, we've now gone back to having a roof on top of our scenery, doors, and weather occlusion. 16K textures are no bueno. Of course, and the jokes begin. Ugh. I I wouldn't mind doing textures outside the US. Dr. 737 inspired me to create a scenery outside of Edmonton, which is available for free on flightsim.to. It is Edmonton Villeneuve Airport, Charlie Zulu Victor Lima. I do believe that Canadian airports are very underrepresented in the sim. And there are a few destinations that I think I might make airports for that some people haven't even thought about making airports for. So I'd like to investigate that. I might make some airports in the Caribbean, although there are probably more than a few companies that actually make them. I might make some airports for Central America or South America. I will probably dabble at European airports or Northern European airports, but we'll see where we stand. I have a bunch of airports to make right now inside the States, but I will be making airports for Canada as well. Saskatoon. There is an airport with a great name that I don't think people have rendered or created. Maybe they have? I thought somebody was working on Saskatoon. Maybe I'm wrong. Lima, India, Mike Golf. If you need pics. Lima, India, Mike Golf. Why does that ICAO code sound familiar to me? Let me open up my VATSPY client real quick. Lima, India, Mike Juliet is Genova, and Lima, India, Mike Golf is Albenga. And that is not that far away from Nice. That is interesting. Very nice. Um, Let me think. Roberto, if you want to look me up on Discord, just look me up as Digi Discorder. I think you are in my Discord. If not, let me go ahead and share my Discord link. I'm not signed into it right now. I'm going to send it to my Discord account so I can share my Discord link for you wonderful folks in chat today. Give me a moment, please. Okay, so let me sign in. Da, 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 da. Where's my authentication code? Where's my phone? Okay, hold on. Near Impedia. Okay. Stand by one, chat. Stand by one. Okay, go to my chat and share the link. Just in case anyone has missed the opportunity to join in the past. Here is a invite to my Discord. You're welcome to stop in, and it's kind of like on an invitation only basis. I try to keep the community small and just create content for people. I want to make it more like a cozy kind of getaway place where we talk about flight sim. But welcome aboard, folks, and I will do my best to make sure that you folks have the ability to do things in chat. So I just saw somebody come in. All right, here we go. They're coming in. Let's go ahead and add one more. And there we go. Okay, so you'll be able to take a look at the screenshots and the scenery projects section of Discord to see what I've done so far. Why haven't you joined Discord yet? Why haven't you joined the Discord yet? Come on. All right. There we go. Let's get you set, friend. And tell you what. There you are. So, beautiful. Also, TBH, I might remove the subscription restriction from my Discord. I want to encourage more of an environment where we can hang out post stream and talk about some things or just shoot the breeze until the next time that I broadcast. So we'll see what happens. But let me go ahead and get back to work here. I have easily like another half hour or so, and then we're going to evaluate what I want to do next. So let me jump back into Blender and see what I can do to clean myself up for today. So we've created Hangar materials so that we can make sure backface culling is enabled wherever it can be. Oh, one thing that I didn't check was whether or not enabling backface culling made things look weird. So far, so good. I don't think I see any undesired behavior as a result of not rendering the insides of objects. Again, with objects like these pylons, for example, adding and removing and changing faces might change the way that it works, but I might test that theory in the future just to see whether or not it happens so that I can save more processing power. Because efficient objects render faster, take up less strain on someone's computer, and in general, make happy flight simmers. So, why am I spinning around my hangar building? And Roberto, welcome to Discord. To my Discord, I should say. Okay. What am I missing? What am I missing? We have shelves now that you can put heavy stuff on, and there's more than enough room for an aircraft. What other physical things do I want to put in this? Do I want to put a light inside of each hangar bay? I'm going to say yes. However, I don't know if the best idea is to create the hangar light and then create the light source inside MSFS, or create the hangar light source in here. What I might do is create the hangar light source as an area, because spotlight I think in general sometimes doesn't work. But let's go ahead and have some fun and mess up together just so we can see what happens. Oh, you're right. Let me try this out. Let me go inside the shelf. Okay, so what you're saying is I should be able to select this entire shelf, go into edit mode, and then pick a face and delete it. Okay, now the only problem is that doing that actually deletes the face on both sides. Is there a way of only getting rid of the face on one side? Because otherwise, if I delete the face, the entire thing is gone. Oh wait, hold on. Yeah. Let me try it again on top. Yeah, because it gets rid of it. It doesn't let me just delete the one side of it. If that's possible, then great. Oh, Thank you. That's what you meant. Uh, Digi. My brain sometimes, you know? Okay, so give her the face, and bam. That's one less polygon that doesn't have to be rendered. That's actually a very smart idea. Let's make that happen. It's not going to take more than a few moments for me to do. It's inside right there. Oh, excuse me. There we go. Select that face and move in. There we go. Okay, so that's definitely something that I can apply to my objects going forward. That's a great idea. I am so sorry I didn't think about that sooner. But it's it's uh it's good knowledge to know, things that are going to help me create more efficient scenery going forward. So I'll mess around with this really quickly, make sure those faces are cleaned up, and then we'll have one less thing to concern ourselves with. Oh, excuse me. There we go. And select this object. Get rid of that face. Other side as well. Wall. And bam. There we go. That's, how many was that? 4 faces that we don't need to render anymore. And this is technically a 3D slab. So I can probably get rid of the bottom of this floor and save on rendering there too. Okay. I'll save this for now. Oh, excuse me. Select it, save it, done. Yes, yes. I am not a 3D artist by trade. I am one by hobby. So this is useful information. Okay, so folks, um, today we spent a good chunk of time dressing up the interior and creating some raised hangar doors. What I'm probably going to do this week is turn this from a black slab to a doorway with a smaller door inside, because I've noticed that when these things are lowered or flat, they tend to be used as a doorway, and when they're raised, the door is basically in the air. Now, you know what? Let's have some fun with this. Let's revert this back to the way it was in a prior revision. So, the easiest way that I can think of doing that is by loading an earlier version of the hangar. That means I can get the values for the door as they are right here. Both of these have X and Y and Z values that are the same, which is actually pretty interesting. I don't know how it works that way, but it does. Let me see, anything else? Yeah, and those values definitely change. That's good. So I see the X and the Y values, which I want to preserve. So I will copy those values and save them in a screenshot and refer to them as I go back to my current version, which is revision 6. All right, why is Digi getting so technical? Because Digi wants to get comfortable with raising and lowering these hangar doors easily. I don't have a way of doing it right now, unless, of course, I figured out how to make this part of like a skeleton structure. I'm not talking about a human skeleton, but I'm saying give this building actual bones so that if I pulled on something, I could actually make it work a certain way. Like I said, right now, Not worried about it. So X is 28077. Y is 79497. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to copy the exact values. Duh. I want these numbers, not just the ones that I copied in an earlier screenshot. So I'll save that, and then I'll take a look at this value as well. Was that in a screenshot? They have to be more precise than what I had before, otherwise it's going to be slightly out of whack. Okay, so knowledge is power, chat. We're going to take these values and revert them to what they were before. Although something makes me think they're exactly the same for X, which is great. So I only have to copy Y. It's 794972. 794972. Okay. Is it the same thing? Yes, yes it is. And now we can put Z back to 1 and rotation back to Zippo. And bam, there's the door. Now I know how to actually lower these things so that I can actually work on them appropriately. Do the same thing. Knee back to 1, rotation to 0. And I'm doing this piecemeal. This is not how the door is going to animate in real life if that was the case. But let's see. And again, 1. Yeah. So there we go. That's just the deconstruction of what the building should look like. And now I have a prototype of what I might make for a slightly different flavor of the same building. So I'm going to save that as a different revision. And this one could be a slightly different permutation on the same property that I can use to make a different hangar, which I most likely will. Okay, Roberto. I could probably even do that right now. So let me think. I will save the entire structure. I will export a new structure, and we're going to say KPM Hangar Type 1 Set 2. And we're going to make the adjustments to the XML file. So we say Type 1 Set 2 in the XML, and now we have another type that we're going to use in the sim. But I can't just render it immediately. I have to do an actual build. And we're going to grab what we just made, which is set 2. We're going to dump that in a new folder in the product. And we're going to say KPYM Hangar Type 1 Set 2. Dump the files in. It's not going to change or make it show up differently. We haven't actually put that hangar down somewhere. But here's where the fun happens. We're going to do a build. So I'll close this. We will save our scenery, and we will hit the build all button. This takes some time. You're probably going to see a whole bunch of errors, but I'm going to do a second build just to see whether or not those errors are coming from any place in our code. I'm sorry, our scenery, or it's just the sim as a whole. Okay, actually no errors. This is some other kind of processing that I'm not sure is going on I don't know why it's going on, but I know our build gave me no errors. And now we're going to go here and we're going to override. Let's override this building. Yeah, let's override this building. And even the default buildings are giving me ideas as to what I want to render alongside them. My next task is to figure out how to create lighting that turns off during the daytime and lights up at night. I know there's a way to do it in a script, but it should be possible to do it without having to turn it into a more intelligent object. Like, it should just be a property that allows me to create, um, you know, lighting that turns off during the day. So we will create a polygon exclusion to get rid of this. Oh, Roberto, I apologize for not answering your prior question. I um I sometimes prefer not to give out certain personal details online. I don't mind talking about certain things with with good friends and with folks that I've come to spend a lot of time with over the years. But unfortunately, the internet isn't a very safe place sometimes. So there's certain details, certain things, like who I am, where I live, what I do, in terms of specifics, that I tend to keep to myself. So my apologies if I don't disclose everything. However, yeah, 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 I've come to understand that. But like many of you folks know, I live in the eastern section of the U.S. I've spent time in more than a few mid-Atlantic locations over the past like 20 plus years, and I like me some seasons, some snow, some fall foliage. You know how nuts I go for fall foliage in like P3D, and now I get to do it in X-Plane, so that's great. So there's that, and there's my appreciation for all things flight sim. Fantastic. Air Emmerich, thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate you stopping by and saying hello. I will probably be on for like another half an hour or so, then we're going to go ahead and call it. But not before maybe I do something else with regards to scenery or flying challenge. And I think most of us are, Air Emmerich. Like I said, if it was a question of me hanging out with friends, we'd know each other's preferences in terms of like food to eat, places we live, stuff like that. But there's unfortunately there's a reason why we have things like the required verifications on this channel and certain safeguards in place even on my Discord. So it's unfortunate, but it is life. But thank you so much for understanding, and have a great rest of your evening or day, and take care. Okay, now let's go ahead and add the poly, which will get rid of this default building. It's a nice default building, which kind of almost makes me sad that I'm getting rid of it, but at the same time, not really. So we're going to create the polygon exclusion, and that should be all I need. Press enter, and there we go. That purple means it's rendered. And I'm going to move this into, oh, first off, let me do that. I'm going to move this polygon thingy into the polygons folder, and we'll call it default hangar exclusion poly 3. Okay, now it has a name. And in terms of buildings, we can say exclude all, and now there is no building that renders here. So here's what we do. We're going to go back to scenery. We're going to go to the DigiScenery Studio KPYM folder, and you'll notice I now have KPYM Hangar Type 1 and Hangar Type 1 Set 2. If I place it, then we can position it the way it's supposed to go. We will put it into position. First off, of course, let me go ahead and do a few things. I'm going to get rid of the editing restrictions, not restrictions, but not seeing the editing helps. We're going to move that object into my West Hangar assets group, and we're going to rotate it so it fits nicely in here. Interesting, even. Okay. And, oh, excuse me. Okay. This is where it gets a little tricky, but it's not impossible. Just have to take time to make sure it's rendered nicely. A little bit of adjustment is required. And good enough to pass the bar? I think so. I think so. Oh, you want to know what? Did I happen to include? Oh no, wait. I know exactly why. The render in Blender has a floor, but you can't see it here. Does anyone want to take a guess why? Why can't we see the floor? If you give up, the reason we can't see the floor is because there's just a teensy slope to where that object is placed. Over here, we created a flattened polygon so we can see a visible floor. We'll probably have to do the same there. So if you take a look at that polygon and the properties, there is a 50-meter terraforming fallout, which means when we replace this one, we might not have to flatten the floor at all. So we'll do the same thing here. We'll do terraforming and we'll do 50 meters for fallout. And you can just start to make the floor out. Now, this is snapped to the ground, which means I need to remove that. Which means that I need to take a look at the building. There we go. Snap to ground is off, and we will adjust the height in slight increments so that we know for a fact that we are as close to the ground as we can get. And don't mind the grass. I'm going to get rid of it when I actually, pave everything. But this is just about as low as we can go. Let me adjust it a little bit. We'll start at 8.4 and we will go to 8.9er. Okay, 8.9er is actually quite higher than I wanted it to be. 8.8, and when you start lowering it, some pieces of the floor might go into the ground. It's unfortunately unavoidable. So we have to pick a height that's going to be conducive to proper rendering of this. So I want to go as low as I can before I hit the ground. 8.7. Looking from above is probably best. Let's do 8.6. So far, so good. Again, I'm looking for any kind of bleed through of the ground surface. And in some ways, I almost wonder if I need a floor at all with these hangers. But 8.6 is pretty good right now. I mean, you literally have to come through here with a figurative desire to expose a problem. 8.5 may be as short as we can go before stuff starts to bleed through. King Cobra, my friend, welcome aboard. Glad to have you. Another friend of the stream. I appreciate you saying hello. We've been here for a little over 90 minutes today doing scenery development in Plymouth Municipal Airport. We are we just actually finished making a what am I trying to say? We actually just made a second version of the hangar, and we're putting it through the works right now. Folks, if you are not following King Cobra 74, please feel free to do so. Another friend of the stream and somebody that has dabbled in flight sim streaming before. So, what am I looking at? Oh, I'm looking at the floor. Of course I am. Huh. Do I want to go lower than this? I don't know. Let's take a look at the other building and see whether or not we have gone lower than that. It's pretty low to the ground, honestly. That's actually really low. Yeah, that might be the same. So standby one, let me see. The truck made me go up a little higher. Okay, we can try. Do I have this thing selected? We can try 8.4. I wonder why this is not letting me pick 8.4 now. That's a little strange. Standby caller. That's better. Okay. Some weird thing was going on with my browser, my system. Okay. Yeah, we got a little too close to the ground and we lost some of the flooring, which means let's try, instead of 4.6, 5.2. 5.2 may be as low as this will get. Oop, needs to be a little higher. Let's try, wait, 5.2. Let's try 5.3. That's gone. Yeah. And this is the part about scenery dev that you're either going to come to, you know, tolerate or really get frustrated at. If you want to make good scenery, and I'm not saying I make good scenery, I would imagine you're going to be spending a lot of time looking for teensy tiny problems. If you want to crank out scenery and you like creating custom buildings and stuff like that, you'll probably make good scenery. But I'm trying to not, what's the phrase I'm looking for? I'm trying not to stumble upon quality. I'm trying to build quality from the start. So, that's not bad. We now have two different hangar buildings in the same scenery, and as you can clearly tell, one has all three hangar bays open, and the other one only has two. Now, why does this not show up the same color as the other part? I am not sure. Oh, maybe because I didn't choose folding hangar door for that as a material. Let me change that, and I'm going to save the changes and export it. I should be able to rebuild it literally in front of your eyes. We have exported it. I'm going to grab those files again and copy them over. And if I copy them over now, there we go. Now it looks like it's just one solid piece. That's still not correct either, but what I'm saying is now we have that kind of inconsistency out of the way. I'm actually glad I saw that because it allowed me to pick the folding hangar door material, which has the back face culling option enabled. So, yeah, that's how you spend time on a Sunday afternoon, messing around with flight sim development. I will probably start picking up speed with these hangar buildings. Now that I have the basic type down, I can pick and choose which doors I want open. And you never know, I might just swap different doors opening and closing depending on time of day. That would be neat, but I haven't thought about the animations that I want to apply to these hangar buildings. I know at this point we can create them. Now I just need to decide how I want them lit and whether or not I want them as as defined as some of the default buildings are, with like gutters and fans for the, to vent air, external circuit breakers and stuff like that. It's gonna be a decision I'm gonna have to make during the development. All right, folks, give me just a moment to stretch my legs. I'll be right back. All right, so we're coming up on 4 o'clock right now. I might slow down for the rest of the afternoon before I spend some more time this evening doing other things. I will most likely be working on these hangars for either tonight and tomorrow into Tuesday. Whether or not I do any more scenery development for these this week depends on a few things. It's going to depend on my availability, since, like I said, I will be taking some family time to be with my family during this time, as I've explained. It depends on how complex the texturing is going to be for these hangars as well. And it also depends on, let's see, other than time and resources, whether or not I'm going to be able to uh, have a consistent chunk of time available to do all that. So, some of you understand, as adults, there's a difference between having time to do something and having an uninterrupted amount of time to do something. Usually what happens to me is that I do certain things at certain points during the day. Kind of like myself as a software developer, I do that as my IRL job. There are points at which you need time to be able to focus without interruptions, to be able to get your head into the code and to be able to create something. So if I'm bouncing back and forth between things, for example, on Friday, and I'm trying to get things done before a meeting with my boss about something for my IRL job, there's a chance that I'm not going to be able to code much. Kind of a similar thing for flight sim development. And like I said, this week's kind of crazy, absolutely crazy. And the next couple of months might be. But am I serious about wanting to release Plymouth Municipal Airport? Well, yeah, I am, big time. I definitely want this place to be available, and available at a relatively inexpensive price. I think pricing for this airport is going to be somewhere between $8 to $10 at most once it's done. I will probably gravitate much closer to the $8 mark, since it is only my second release, and I want to make sure it's released with a great amount of quality and care. I don't want to release something that the community won't be able to use. I don't want to release something that the community that will be subpar. I want to compete. I want to do well versus other companies that are well established. But I am a one man show in terms of marketing, sales, customer service, all this stuff. I would like to figure out how to do this on a full-time basis, but again, things are complicated right now. So, one way you folks can help, if you choose to do so, is by going to buymeacoffee.com/digi123. You can also type exclamation point coffee in chat, which should take you to that link as well. It is a if you feel so moved option. I have one-time donation options if you'd care to contribute to the cause, as well as subscription tiers. I'm experimenting with that. I'm not worried about it if nobody wants the sub. Hey, listen, sometimes money's tight and you need to hold on to every penny you have. I respect that. I will finish Plymouth, Lord willing. It might take me a little bit longer than I'd like to if I don't have the ability to turn it into a full-time job, but it will get done. Absolute worst case scenario for this place might be, you know, mid to late February at this rate. But if I had the ability to focus way more time on it, that would be a different story. Now, let me be realistic. Do I think that I would be able to do all this from a dream scenario right now? I think I'd need a lot more funding to go full time. I think I'd like it, and there is apparently more than a little bit of software development that can really make your sceneries pop off. But like I said before, I understand it's not always something people want to spend money on. So we're going to see what the next 3, 4, 6, 8 weeks are going to bring in terms of development. And if I have to slow down because of IRL things, that's what has to happen. Let me do one more thing before I sign off today. I talked about it briefly, but I never got around to it. Let me go back into Blender and just experiment with lighting. We're going to go back to the first building and we are going to take a look at putting a light source inside of it. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pylons. So we're going to put we're going to put the light or the lamp inside the middle of one of the bays so we can see what it looks like. And you might not be seeing me in Blender. Oh no, you are. Okay. Let me change that. So, deselect everything, add a cube, and move it into place. Now, let's do this. I see. I'm going to save the X value and see if that's the middle. Yes, it is. Wonderful. All right, now we're going to take the Y value of the center support. Y is 0, so it's along the origin, I guess. Is it? Yes, it is. Wow. Okay, so now we have this centered where I want it to go. Now I just need to actually change the shape of it. And it's, wait, did I pick the right values? Let me save this value because I don't think I actually picked the right item to use. I think I chose a cube when I meant to pick a cylinder. So let's get rid of this. Let's choose a... I think I like cylinder more than cone. So let's move it into place. Put that there, and now we have a cylinder inside the hangar. And it looks big. All right. Move it up. And a little bit higher. Okay. Now, we're going to take the top of the cylinder and we're going to scrunch it down. So select the top face, we'll hit the scale, and we'll bring it in. Oh, that's interesting. Let's see. I need to get closer to it, I think. Or instead of doing that, no, 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 no. I need to actually make it smaller. So hold on. Let me. Yeah, that's not working the way I wanted to. From above, maybe? Nope. Maybe I need to go just a touch higher. I think that's what I was missing. I think. Yes. Okay. Okay, that's actually not bad. Now, it's really large, but I think I know what I want to do. I've used extremely simple lamps before in my other scenery, so this isn't anything new. And now, that should be enough for me to scrunch it down. Scale with blue and blammo. A little bit further up than I'd like it to be, but this is basically a almost wafer thin piece, so I'm not going to worry about it. So we have one light now inside the hangar bay. I will delete this face and I will spend a few seconds making sure this is placed where it's supposed to go, which it looks like it is. We're going to put just a regular square cube in here, and that's just how I'm going to do it. It's going to be really quick, really easy, and we're going to make the cube be emissive. So it'll look like it's always on. Right now, this is just for illustration's sake. So we'll add a cube, bring it into place, 0, it's humongous, and let's make it 0.05, 0.05, 0.05. And we'll take that cube and we will, wait, where is it? Where's my cube? It's not that large. There it is. There it is. Okay. So, let's make it a little bit bigger. DBNR Batman, hello. I'm sorry I missed your greeting earlier. Hopefully you weren't waiting too long for a response. We're doing scenery dev in Microsoft Flight Simulator, and we are at Plymouth Municipal Airport in Massachusetts. I am working on enlarging this little emissive light bulb that I'm creating. And again, this is a low budget wonder. Just a way for me to be able to create a light bulb inside of this lamp. But let me double this. Let me double it to 0.1. That should be big enough. And there we go. So we're going to bring this down a little bit more, and there is a square bulb for our lamp. Yes, it's square. I know. Judge me. So we're going to make this dark and we're going to make this bright. And we'll say Hangar light bulb test. And we're going to put backface coloring on it since we're not going to care about the rendering of faces inside of it. And we're going to do an emissive color all the way up. So that means when the lights go out, when it gets dark outside, you'll be able to see that lit all the time. Okay, now Is there something I'm doing wrong here? Oh, of course. Yes. This needs to be something different. Okay, thank you. Yeah, it does. Okay, so we're gonna do hanger lamp, hanger lamp. Okay, it can be dark if I want it to be. I might make it completely black, but it's probably gonna be, I don't know. Here's probably fine, 0.3. And I'm not gonna enable backface culling because if I do, I get rid of the inside, and I want that inside to show. Okay, okay. Um, we are we're gonna start wrapping up soon, but I wanted to add a light source to my hanger to see how light behaves here. An emissive texture will illuminate things that are right next to it, but I also want this to be a spotlight. So here's what we're gonna do. Lighting is something I have not mastered yet. It's gonna take me a while to do. So we are going to take the X coordinate and we're going to add a light source. We will add a light and we're going to make it a spotlight for now. We'll put it into place and we're going to move it up so that the origin touches that light bulb. All right, here's the thing. This is essentially the way it looks. I don't know how to expand the reach of the light bulb, but I think, wait, is that it? All right, specular. Oh, there we go. There's the radius. At least I thought. Size. Okay, size I think controls the amount of illumination that takes place. And let's make it a 40-watt bulb. And I'll assume they're using an LED bulb. And there's the cone. That's what's going to be illuminated by that light. And maybe some ray tracing will allow us to get residual lighting too. Only a few days. Congratulations. All right, so we have created our first light source for this hangar. This could get interesting, folks. This is, again, a low budget wonder. This is just for testing purposes. We're going to go ahead and save our changes, and we're going to export and build. And this one is the first one, not the second set, just the first set. We're going to save the changes, export the file. We're going to copy this over, and if I did it right, we should see the change when we dump it in. Oh, excuse me, that's the wrong file. That's where it should go. Okay, now, I don't think I messed up my other file. No, I didn't. And we should now have a lit aircraft. Nice. How do we know we have a lit aircraft? This is how we know. We change time of day, and bam, 5:43, and we have a lit plane inside the hangar bay. But this is the only problem that I have with spotlighting, that it just, I don't know. I don't think the spotlight in Blender behaves the way I'd like it to. Or there's plenty about this that I'm missing. So let me show you what it looks like. It looks like this in the sim. And ignoring the other lines, I'd like to see more of the hangar itself. So let me change this. I'm going to change. Oh, you know what? While I'm thinking about this, I'm going to go inside and label the cylinder and the light bulb. So we're going to say hangar lamp 1, and we're going to go into the hangar lamp and pick the light bulb, and say Hangar light bulb 1, and where's the spot? Rename this Hangar Spotlight 1. Okay, probably a bad name for it as I'm going to change the light type, but I'm going to change it from, wait, it's only a 40-watt bulb. What happens if I make it a 120-watt bulb? This could be very interesting, chat. Okay, I just changed it to be a 120-watt bulb. Here we go. We're going to export the change and see what it looks like. And we're going to copy the files over. Okay, so oddly enough, it's not a bad idea, but I'm not getting the kind of residual lighting that I'd like to see. And I know it looks, this looks way weirder. It's probably just easy for me to make these things go away so you can see it more clearly. So let me go back to dusk. Okay, so there you go. Essentially, this is a 120-watt bulb over the aircraft. So it's pretty bright, but the problem is that it doesn't illuminate much else. So there might be something I can work with in terms of, I don't know. Oh wait, hold on. That's weird. Radius of what? Radius of the initial light from the spotlight? That's a really weird thing. So it can just light things, or it can make shadow as well. I'm going to make the spot shape do a blend of 1, so it's completely diffused at the edge. And let's see if I have to play with shadow or contact shadows. I've just changed it. Let's see if it's different. Let's take bin, gltf, and xml and save it. Okay, it does seem a bit better at the edges, but it's still not illuminating everything in the room. And a 120-watt bulb like that should be catching quite a bit of residual light, almost like ray tracing, so to speak, but I don't think I have ray tracing turned on if I do. So let's pick the spotlight again, and I'm going to, let's see, contact shadows isn't my problem. I don't think shadows are my problem either. I think it's the simple fact that we have a light bulb that's not quite doing it for me. So let's increase the range of the radius of the actual bulb itself. And I'm going to go ahead and go from 0.25 to 250 and see if an order of magnitude change makes this thing behave differently. And this is probably going to be one of the last changes that I make. So let me go ahead and test this. And copy the files over. And copy them into place. Okay. All right. The good news is that it didn't actually bleed out, or I don't think it bled out. Let me actually set this to night. Okay, what I am looking for is to see whether or not the lighting actually bleeds through the roof. Because if it doesn't, then I'm going to actually, uh, what am I trying to say? I'm going to use this for lighting going forward. What did I do? Oh, radius. Okay, so we'll go from 2.5 to 7.5. I'm pushing the envelope here because I need to see how it behaves. And because I'm running out of time. Okay, same thing. Copy paste. Okay, so unfortunately, increasing the radius of the light and playing around with spotlight size isn't helping me. Or I'm saying something wrong here. Let's put the radius back to 0.25 and let me increase the size of the spotlight radius to, I don't know, 160 degrees. I'm going to simulate what covering an entire area in diffuse light looks like from a spotlight, but I don't know if this is going to work. I'm going to reduce the intensity of the power coming from the bulb to maybe 60 watts. And now we're going to save it again and export it again. These are kind of the quiet moments where you have to figure out how to make stuff work. Okay, now look at that. All right, we traded one thing for another. We are now applying a lot more lighting to the inside of this hangar. But the problem is, it's twofold. One, we have bleed through going outside the building. That's not intended. And it's still not baking the top of the roof the way that I'd like it to. This is a problem that I've experienced before. So, one of the last things that we can do is simple. Get rid of the spotlight and do an area light instead. So, oh wait, there is one other thing I forgot to try. Change the spotlight so that the actual light itself is less intense. So the point being, let's change it down to literally a sixth of its intensity, which may make the light that bleeds out be a lot less intense. That's why it's called intensity. Terrible, terrible. All right, pasting the files. Okay, so it's not as intense a light. It's not bleeding through as much. And it's probably just exposing the lack of vertices that I've used to make the object be more solid. But if we can change the color of the spotlight to be a bit more amber and a bit less white, RGB. That's a yellow. I might put in 4/10 of blue. And save that color. And export it, copy the files, and put it into place. Last test. And there we go. All right. That's actually not bad. It's like a typical amber light source, except the light bulby thing is quite white. So I want to change the actual light bulb base color to be the same thing. 1, 1, and 0.4. And that's the base color. And I'm going to make that same thing for the emissive color. And I think that's all it takes for me to actually make the light bulb look the same. It's a little weird, but I might actually keep it that way. What do you guys think? Yeah, yeah, actually, I think I like that. I think I like that. I might, The thing is, I really wanted that light to hit the roof, but I don't know how stuff like that looks IRL. Is that something just on the basis of whether or not that hits the entire roof, is that something that you would be comfortable paying $8 for? I don't know. I would like to see more of the hangar. But I mean, clearly you're going to see more of the hangar during the day. So something like a dusk scenario where it's just starting to get dark, you see the rest of the building, but once it gets dark, it gets dark. Let me try one last thing. We've adjusted the intensity of the light bulb and we've adjusted the reach. What else can I do? What can I do that would make this look better? There's not much I can think of. The only other possibility is actually just rendering the lamps and then creating just enough light for the inside of the hangar and using an MSFS light source for the rest. So watch this. Light warm, medium. Let's see where it got added. Did it get added? Let me see. Also, I'm wondering where I put my other planes. Standby 1. um, Let me see. You are what? You are West Hangar Assets. Okay. Okay. So as long as you're in West Hangar Assets, you should be fine. Oh, I put you in here? No. Let's move you to West Hangar Assets. What are you? Yeah, you're the plane. West Hangar Assets. Boop. Oh, you were there. You're just further down. Okay. All right. I'm messing around with all this because I'm getting ready to add a light source and I don't think I added it yet. I see. Adding it. Where is the light source? Hello? Oh! Goodness sakes. Oh, okay, hold on. Wait, what's this? Whee! There goes the building. Okay, stand by. All right, add. There's my light source. Okay, good. That took me a while to catch on. All right, we've got the light source, and this is what needs to happen. We need to break snap to ground, and here's where it gets interesting. Okay, let's put this where I think the middle of this belongs. And just to move things along faster, I'm going to get rid of the roof again to see where I'm going. Save everything else, render. I just need a minute or so. And we're going to copy, drop it into place. Now we don't have a roof anymore. Great. All right. I'm doing this because I want to put it right where the light source is. Okay. Now, with the X position and Y position confirmed, we can put this where the lamp is. Okay. Now, let me think. Let me hide this. Yeah, see? It does the same thing that the light in Blender would do. So, I either need to get better at rendering objects that don't have any bleed through allowed, or I need to decide whether or not I want to put my light sources in the sim or in Blender. On the other hand, this is not that bad. And hold on a moment, let me do something. Let me reintroduce the hangar roof, the roof, and save it. Export. Copy. Moving. Pasting. Good. Okay, now, with the extra light source added, let's go to nighttime. Nope. Okay, so it failed. But guess what? Guess what? That makes me feel better. Why? Because we tried light warm to see whether or not I could get more, what's that? So I can get more ambient lighting inside the hangar, and it didn't work the way I wanted it to. So, in essence, we've essentially proved the theory. The problem with adding certain kinds of light in the sim is that it's not perfect. But if I added an area light, even at the bottom, it would bake away the shadows under the plane, and maybe that's what I want. So let's try that. Actually, you know what? It's about 4:32, so I don't think I have time to try that. However, for a first stab at lighting in the sim, I don't know, man. I'm kind of pleased with it. I think I have an idea of what wattage of light bulbs work for this now. Where's my spotlight? There it is. This is simulated with a 10-watt bulb and specular of 1 and radius of 0.25. Now, let's make it a 50-watt bulb or a 60-watt bulb and save the change and see how much more intense the light is. So, we save the change, we're going to export it one last time, and I'll have some kinetic data for next time. Copy the files, and blah blah blah. Okay, I think that makes more sense. A 60-watt bulb in a hangar this big should probably be fine, especially if it's a spotlight. I think we're going to call it there, folks. I'm going to save my scenery, build it, and I'm going to think about what I'm going to do this week. There's probably going to be a little bit of scenery dev. There might not be much. And we'll see where we go from there. Now, let's see where I can send you wonderful folks over to. We are live at the moment. Who else is live with us? Let's see. 757 Spy is on. Two Cats is doing general aviation flying in the UK. We have Iron Condor simulations. We have, oh, the things are all over the place. It rearranges my stuff. I like to go high to low, viewers. Iron Condor flying with Mike. We have SDW 222, and let me think. Actually, let's go ahead and send you guys over to Flying with Mike. Let's set up the raid. Dr. 737, thank you so much for stopping by today. Really appreciate having you with us. Of course, folks, Dr. 737 is one of our mods working to protect and make sure this community has great content for you as well when I'm streaming. So, Flying with Mike for the raid. Folks, thank you so much for stopping by. Dr. 737, thanks again for the resub today. Crazy to think that you've been supporting this channel for as long as you have. God bless you. Love your soul, man. And like I always like to say at the end of every stream, if you want true peace, you need the Prince of Peace, and that's Jesus Christ. Take care, friends. Let's go raid Flying with Mike, and you get to see some X-Play. Take care. See ya, folks.